Hello, my name is John Rose. In this video, I'd like to take a closer look at the seventh component of weight, which just happens to be the most dangerous substance in the world, for the obvious reason that it's inside most of us. Now, how could something be the most dangerous substance in the world? It's because this is what it looks like. This is a picture of what Victor Hugo referred to as the serpent that lives within us. And it's what Jesus referred to as Beelzebub, which is the devil, Satan himself, or Lord of the dunghill. I'll never forget when I read this little bitty book called The Essene Gospel of Peace. I was on day 64 of my 7th juice fast, which turned out to be a 90-day juice fast. I was going to go the distance. It was documenting everything. And I read this little book that I really felt like it was talking to me, because Jesus made 17 references of oozing streams of decay inside of our bowels. And he gave it a name, called it Beelzebub. Looked the word up in the dictionary, and it's the devil, Satan himself. Look up the word in a King James Version, and you'll find it's Lord of the dunghill. And in this little book, Jesus said, fast till you get rid of Beelzebub, and you will never see disease. And when you do, you'll see with your own eyes and smell with your own nose all of the evil smelling things of Satan that are inside of you, tormenting you with all manners of pain. Once again, when I read this, I said, man, is this book talking to me or what? How do they know I'm documenting everything? How do they know I can see it and smell it? Well, back then, they were recommending that you do an enema to get rid of this stuff. Get a gourd and hollow it out and shove it up your bum and look at the devil come out of you. And then, of course, in this little book, they said, Master, you told us how to destroy this demon that's inside of us. What do we do to make sure that demon doesn't come back? And that's when Jesus said, thou shalt not kill. Don't kill man, nor beast, nor the food that goes into your mouth. For if you eat living food, the same will quicken you. But if you kill your food, the dead food will kill you also. For only life comes from life, and from death only death. And I just thought, man, that makes so much sense. Makes so much sense. This is why we suffer. We're killing our food. It's unnatural food. It changes the bowel transit time of our food. It allows us to eat foods we're not biologically adapted to eat. We never would have started eating the animals consistently if we had not mastered fire. We never would have started eating plant foods we're not biologically adapted to eat had we not mastered fire. These were not good things that happened to us. They were bad things. They only created more of the serpent that's inside of us. So how can one thing cause so many problems? It's because this is what it looks like. This is uneliminated waste matter, which is the residue from unnatural foods, because we're violating simple laws of nature. It's no different than gravity. If you get on the roof of your house and jump off, I know where you're going to go. If you eat unnatural foods, I know how it's going to go through your food tube. It's not going to go through the right speed, and you might get away with it for a while, but it's going to catch up with you, and it's why all older people seem to gain weight around their bellies. Why is that? I'll never forget going to weight loss seminars in the 80s, and they said, you know, men and women are different. Men usually gain weight around their abdominal areas to protect their internal organs. Women usually around their hips and buttocks for reproductive purposes. And then we have different races of people that are different. We have apple shape and pear shape. But for some reason, we don't know why, all old people seem to gain weight around their bellies. Well, I know why. It isn't necessarily fat. It's a serpent that lives within you, because you're eating food that has a long bowel transit time. Now, when you go on a solid food vacation, when you take the first of my three-step process, you're going to see a wide variety of stuff come out of you. It's not going to look like this initially. The pictures I've shown you so far didn't come out of me until day 10 and day 11. And I've coached thousands of people, and it varies quite a bit from individual. Younger people in the 20s might see it as early as a week. Older people in their 50s or 60s might not see it for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. And if you don't start seeing this stuff come out of you, there's one of two possibilities. One, you might be clean, very unlikely, probably less than 5%, or you've got a damaged system. Now let's take a picture of what a colon is supposed to look like, or take a look at a picture of what a colon is supposed to look like. On the left of this picture, you'll see a picture of a healthy colon. Off to the side, look at these 6 pictures off to the side. They don't look anything like what they're supposed to look. See how they're twisted and bent out of shape? See how they're ballooned out on one side? We have constricted areas where things don't come out. So if we have a constricted area in our system where stuff can't go through, we might benefit by doing a colonic, or maybe even some psyllium and bentonite, although many times that will just block things up. So if we don't start seeing the serpent come out of us within within the right time period, not a short period of time, but within the right time period based on your age, then we need to consider possibilities that you might have a damaged system, and you might benefit by having some water up into your system. So you could do an enema or a colonic, a high enema. I never tell people what to do because I realize this is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people. And what are the other options? I guess you could do a water fast. Remember, when we do a water fast, it's the same process that transforms a caterpillar into a butterfly. So the body can heal a lot of damage in this area in a way a juice fast cannot. So the water fast is a much deeper cleanse. It kicks in what's called autolysis, where the body will cannibalize a lot of defective tissue. And that might be the best way to deal with some of these things. Personally, I prefer to take my solid food medication by using juices. That way I have plenty of energy, and that way I can see this stuff come out of me and be convinced and motivated to go the distance. So that's what I encourage all of my students to do. How long should you do this? Take it one day at a time. In the beginning, it varies quite a bit from people to people. A lot of people will have a lot of loose stuff and will have diarrhea for several days. And then slowly that will thicken up, and next thing you know, they'll have what looks like a normal bowel movement. And then, depending upon their age, they'll start seeing stuff coming out that has definitions and grooves, like the picture I've been showing. I'll show it again right now. Here it is right now. In fact, I'll go ahead and add a few extra pictures during this time to show you what other stuff looks like that can come out of us. And when this stuff comes out, it's obvious it's been in there for a long time. And this is the relatively old stuff. Now, once again, in the beginning, most people have a lot of loose stools. The average person loses 3 pounds in the first day. And a lot of people think it's water. Well, get a scale that measures your water percentage, and you'll see you'll gain water on this in this process. The reason why you lose 3 pounds in one day is you're not processing food for one day. That's about how much weight most people get from processing one day's worth of food. So most people are going to lose 3 pounds in the very first day. And again, it's not necessarily water loss, but it can be if you have edema. Again, get a scale, measure your water percentage, and what you'll notice if you do this for 3 months, you'll probably gain 10, 15 pounds of water. So if you think you only lost 20, 30, 40 pounds, add those other 15 pounds onto it or whatever it is, and you'll see that you really lost a whole lot more. And sure, you're going to lose some fat, but you're going to lose something that's what I consider the most dangerous substance in the world. As I mentioned, this is what I call the 7th component of weight. I've identified 7 major components of weight. So when we look at our total weight, that's a very deceptive number. Because most of us are a combination of overweight and underweight. And when you look at water, a lot of people have edema and they're still dehydrated. So we got to get the water where it needs to be, and we need to realize there is more than one component of weight. I briefly talked about this the other day, where I explained that there are 4 main, our body, 96% of our body is made up of 4 main elements, and the other 4% is minerals. So we start off with minerals. That's one component of weight. Then we have water. About 2/3, 70% of our water, of our body approximately, should be water. And then 1/2 of the remaining 1/3 or so will be protein. And then we have 2 sources of energy. We've got carbohydrates and fats. Carbohydrate fuel tank's very small. It may weigh 1.5 pounds because for every molecule of glycogen we store, we also store 3 molecules of water. So we can, if our carbohydrate fuel tank depletes, we can lose 1.5 pounds right there or so, maybe more, depending on how big you are. And then we got that fat fuel tank, which we know is very big. Even somebody who only has 15, 20% body fat has enough fat stored up for a whole month. When you look at how many calories are in a pound of fat and how much we got. So what do we got so far? We got the minerals, the water, the protein, the lean body mass. We got 2 forms of energy. So there's 5, right? With 3 and then 2. We got 2 more components of weight. That's where the waste matter comes into play. That's where we have relatively fresh waste matter. And this is important because this is part of the serpent also. This is the evidence that's destroyed when you do a colonoscopy. They flush that stuff out. We shouldn't be flushing that stuff out. We need to look at it because that may be more important than even the old stuff. This may be the worst serpent of all because most of us have about 12 to 15 meals that are backed up in our intestines. If you're eating meat every day, 3 times a day, it takes 3 days for that to come out. So there's 9 meals right there. But the problem is once we put these slow-moving items through our food tube, it creates a bottleneck and we have a traffic jam and all sorts of things back up and don't come out the way they should. So whenever a person has a bowel movement on one day, no telling how much of that came out from is coming out from the day before and the day before and the day before. Of course, the argument is, oh, I ate the corn, I saw the corn come out. That little corn stuck on through. But watch the corn come out 2 days later and 3 days later. Explain that one. Or when you do a juice fast, you see it come out 4 months later or whatever. Again, we see a wide variety of stuff that comes out of us when we do this. In the beginning, we get rid of that relatively fresh stuff, and then we work on the old stuff. And it comes in many shapes and forms. There are blowouts on the side of the wall where, in fact, I'll go ahead and take a picture of that. So right now, you should be looking at that picture. I'll do that when I get back. And this is a picture of what the diverticular looks like off the side of the wall to give you an idea. In fact, I put several pictures up of what this looks like. This is what I had. Fiber can't get this stuff out. People think there is no solution, but I know there's a solution because I saw all this stuff come out of me when I drank nothing but juices. I'll never forget day 19 on my 3rd juice fast when I had about 80 of those come out of me within 5 minutes. It blew my mind. It was 3 pounds. 2 movements, 1.5 pounds each. About 40 of those little diverticular came out of me each time. So we can repair our body, we can clean our system out if we give our body a vacation. What our body needs more than anything is rest. That's why water fasting works so well. But most of us can't take a vacation from life, from work. We have financial responsibilities, we have family responsibilities. We can't lay in bed all day long and then recuperate after the fast. A 3-week water fast takes a 6-week vacation from life. So on a juice fast, we can go 3 months, perform better than ever. Almost everybody I coach says the same thing in the beginning. I can't believe I'm not hungry. Can't believe how much energy I have. And then after about 3 days, I feel like a fog has lifted my mind. This is so exciting. There's a reason why I get excited about this because I've done it over 1,200 days in the last 24 years. I've coached thousands of people. I've seen the transformation people go through. And I'm convinced this is an idea whose time has come because I know it's stronger than all the armies in the world. It will change our mentality. And enough of us are willing to do this to get everyone's attention. So I'm really excited about my YouTube channel. I'm convinced that I already have a great army behind me already that's going to make my channel grow. The trim tabs of society are going to turn our ship away from that iceberg. We can make a difference. And I'm in a learning process right now. I've got lots of ideas on what I want to do with my channel. And I know I haven't addressed a lot of your questions. I've addressed quite a few, but I'm a little anal about what I do. I like to document everything. And I want to make sure I record everything before I answer a lot of your questions. So I will be doing some question and answer sessions in the upcoming videos. And I'll probably just do that indoors and show you some of my files to answer these questions. Now, some of you guys are asking me questions that I can give general answers to, but some of y'all, the questions have to do with the damage that has taken place. Remember, there's 3 things we have to do. We got to give the body everything it needs, and there's 2 groups of needs. That's where it gets complicated. Support our organs of elimination, and then that second group of needs, the damage that's been done. This is the problem. So people are used to going to doctors and saying, doctor, doctor, I've got this. What do I do? Oh, you got that? Take this drug. People who work holistically like myself can't do that. It helps for us to know what you got, but it's more important for us to know what you're doing. And that takes a lot of time to find out what you're doing, to figure out what kind of damage you have and what you're supposed to do. So this is where you play the role. A lot of questions you're asking me, you've got to find the answer. I can give you basic general ideas, like vitiligo, for example. We know there's a vitamin B deficiency there, so we have to address that issue in addition to cleaning the body out. But otherwise, a lot of conditions can get very complicated because of our individual damage. Remember, there is the oneness of the disease based on our species-specific diet, but then there's the uniqueness of the disease based on the damage that's happened to you. A lot of our problems are inherited. We inherit weaknesses. We even inherit defects. I've worked with a lot of people that we bounced our head up against the wall trying to figure out what do we do for this person, only to find out finally that they had a defective gene and they weren't producing something. So this can get very complicated. That's why I say no one has enough knowledge of all the protocols and of all the ways our body can be damaged to know the art of healing and be a pro. And that's why you play a role. So it's up to us to find out more specifically how we're damaged. It doesn't take very long for you to learn more about an organ that's damaged. In fact, if it takes you more than a day to learn the basics, you're going to the wrong websites. It's not that complicated. Doctors spend forever learning all about an organ and the blood, and they don't know anything about the lymph system. Once you understand the role the lymph system plays, once you understand the role the colon plays, and the liver plays, and the kidneys it play, and if we have gallstones or kidney stones, or what happens when our lymph system backs up, then we understand the disease process, and we know not to treat the symptom. We just know that we have to support our body if it's damaged. So you can go to 2 videos I've uploaded in the past couple months or so, Healing Secrets Revealed, and Medicine is the Ultimate Tool of Control. And I explain how we have 2 short-term, self-limited diseases and 4 long-term stages of disease. And that's going to explain most of the disease process. And you can use that in conjunction with the research that you do for your particular organ to figure out how do you fine-tune this. Soon I'll have a website up and running. I plan on trying to get all of my files up there, so that if you want to know more about piece number 3, for example, I'll have probably about 350 files that will back up piece number 3. Some of them are over 1,000 pages long. I've worked really hard in the last 26 years to amass as much knowledge as I can, only to find that the more I know I don't know. There's just so much out there. And that's why we got to unite. And what we can do, for example, this is one reason why I'm really behind right now. I'm uploading so many videos, I don't have time to transcribe them all. And I could use some help from you guys. If you want to transcribe some of my videos and post it on here, I'd love that. Or at least the main points that I talk about, so we can reference back to that, so I can reference other people to those videos. I often thought if everyone did what I did, I go to message boards and I work hard, I'll watch a video and I'll transcribe it and I'll share it with everybody. And I thought, well, God, if everybody on this message board did the same thing, I wouldn't have to do as much work. Think of it this way. Let's say there's a book that's 300 pages long and I got 300 people. Let's all type out 1 page and share it. And all of a sudden, boom, we got the whole book. This is what we need to do together and unite one another. We need to work together and come up with some sort of game plan saying, hey, let's transcribe some videos, or let's do this, let's accumulate some information. Let's divvy out the work and let's all share. And see, again, this is what we're supposed to do to begin with. We've got the wrong mentality. That's what cooking does. It separates us. We have an exchange mentality. We don't have a gift mentality. We don't understand the more we give, the more we receive. If everybody does what I'm doing and have been doing ever since I found this knowledge, is giving, think how much we'll have. So there's a very simple solution to get out of the hole we're in, and it takes a united effort. We're like a bunch of crabs, and every time someone gets getting close, you grab them and pull them back down. No, we can all pull each other out, but we got to unite and do that together. So the solution's a bottom-up solution. We know that. You play a role when it comes to solving our problems, and it begins by doing the first of my 3-step process, or you can go straight to the second step and adopt a raw vegan diet. It just takes longer, but that's the main thing we got to do. So once we do the first step on a temporary basis, then we got to correct those 5 main mistakes on a permanent basis. And then we got to add them to our list of mistakes to correct and put them on the top and correct all of the mistakes the best we can. Good luck, because it's not easy. I know. Do the best you can. Every year, keep doing better and better and better. Before you know it, you'll finally be where you want to be. Habit will render things once you do it long enough. So when you do this, you're in for a treat.